This learning is Le'ili Nishmas Bruya Bas Chananya, Maseches Demai, Perek Mishna Gimel. Halokeach min anachtim, someone who buys bread from a baker, and it's a case where the buyer has to separate the maasros. So the question over here is, are we concerned that the baker bought grains from different Amei Haaretz, and each day he uses grains from a different Amei Haaretz? And the issue with that would be that if that's the case, then a person cannot separate the maasros from breads of one day for the breads of another day, because the halacha is that a person cannot separate maasros from grains that already had maasros separated from them. A person can't take maasros from those grains for other grains that did not have maasros separated from them. It has to be that a person is separating either from those grains themselves or from a different group that also did not have maasros separated from it. So we have three opinions over here. The first opinion is, which we'll see, is Rabbi Meir, that ma'aser menachamo ala tzainenes, a person could separate maasros from the hot bread on the cold bread, meaning today's bread for yesterday's bread, umin hatzainenes al hachama, and from the cold bread, yesterday's bread, on the hot, the warm bread. And afilu mitfusin harbe, even if the breads were made in different molds. We don't say that they're made in different molds because it was different types of grains or different quality of grains bought from different people, but rather we say that the baker buys all of his grains from one person. And therefore you could separate from yesterday's on today's, today's on yesterday's, and one type of mold for the grains, the bread made in a different mold. Different Rabbi Meir, these are the words, this is the opinion of Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Yehuda, however, says it's forbidden, because we say, Shani Eimer, because I say, says Rabbi Yehuda, that Chitim Shel Emesh, Hayu Mishel Echad, the grains of yesterday belong to one person, Vishalayim, Hayu Mishel Acher, and the grains of today are from a different Am Haaretz. So you can't separate the maasros from one day's for the next days. However, Rabbi Yehuda does agree with Rabbi Meir that we don't care what type of mold was used, as long as it's all from one day, we say it was bought from one Am Haaretz. And the third opinion is Rabbi Shimon Eiser, Rabbi Shimon forbids betrumas meiser when it comes to separating the trumas meiser, which is the main issue when it comes to Demai. He forbids it even if they were made in different molds, because he says they were made in different molds because they were a different quality of grain, and so it comes from different sellers, different Amei Haaretz, and so you have to separate from each day's separately, and as well as each type of bread made in each type of mold separately. However, umatir bechala, he permits the person who buys it to separate challah from one day's for the next days or for the previous days, or one type of mold for the other type of mold, because the whole chiyuv of challah only takes effect when it's being baked. And then it all belonged to one person, which is the baker, and it's not relevant if it was purchased from different Amei Haaretz, different sellers of the grain.